Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to West Virginia Astronomy. My name is Jonathan, and this video, Sky News, What's Up in the Night Sky for October 2021, is all about the month of October and what it has to offer. There's a lot going on this month. We have the Draconids meteor shower, we have the Orionids meteor shower, we have the Southern Taurids meteor shower, and we have Venus at its greatest eastern elongation. But first, I would like to announce that I now have a Squarespace website where you can kind of go to see all of my work displayed in kind of like a home base instead of just shown on social media and my YouTube account. I will actually have this Squarespace website where you can go and view all my galleries, all my recent work. You can place orders and you can contact me directly. So I'll put a link in the description for that below. And I'd like to again thank all the continued support from everybody and encouragement. And if you're new to the channel, I do videos all about astrophotography, image sessions, workflow tutorials. If that's something you're into, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Leave me a comment on what type of videos you like to see, and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. So without any further ado, we'll jump right into it. I'm going to start with just showing you the major celestial events happening, and then once we go through all those, I'll jump back and show you the sky targets this month. First thing, I'm going to start on about October 6th or so, because we're already through the first days of the month, which I apologize about that. I understand this video is a little late, but hey, I'm trying to do what I can do here. So on October 6th, we have a new moon happening. The moon will be located on the same side of the earth as the sun and will not be visible in the night sky. This is the best time of the month to observe faint objects such as galaxies and star clusters, because there is no moonlight to interfere. On October 7th, we have the peak of the Draconids meteor shower. The Draconids is a minor meteor shower producing only about 10 meteors per hour. It is produced by dust grains left behind by comet 21P, which was first discovered in 1900. The Draconids is an unusual shower, and the best viewing is in the early evening instead of early morning like most other showers. This shower runs annually from October 6th to 10th and peaks this year on the night of the 7th. Best viewing will be in the early evening from dark locations from far away from city lights. Meteors will radiate from the constellation Draco, but can appear anywhere in the sky. Okay, then we're going to jump to October 20th. That is our first full moon of the month. Its face will be fully illuminated. This full moon was known by early Native American tribes as the Hunter's Moon. This moon has also been known as the Travel Moon and the Blood Moon. Okay, jumping on down to October 21st through the 22nd is Orionids meteor shower. The Orionids is an average shower producing up to 20 meteors per hour at its peak. It is produced by dust grains left behind by comet Halley. The shower runs annually from October 2nd to November 7th. It peaks this year on the night of October 21st and the morning of October 22nd. The full moon this year will be a problem for the Orionids. Its glare will block out all but the brightest meteors, but if you are patient, you should still be able to catch a few good ones. Best viewing will be from a dark location after midnight. Meteors will radiate from the constellation Orion, but can appear anywhere in the sky, really. We're going to jump over to October 25th. Mercury is at its greatest western elongation, which that means this is the best time to view Mercury, since it will be at the highest point above the horizon in the morning sky. Look for the planet low in the eastern sky just before sunrise. Okay, we're going to jump over to October 29th here, and Venus is at its greatest eastern elongation, which means that this is the best time to view Venus, since it will be at its highest point above the horizon in the evening sky. Look for the bright planet in the western sky just after sunset. That pretty much wraps it up, all the major events happening. I did create kind of a list of deep sky targets that I'm going to try to shoot this month, and are at the best time of the year to pretty much image these targets. Fourth, and we have the Cocoon Nebula, The Cocoon Nebula is a stellar nursery. Beyond the central glow of hydrogen, this surrounding interstellar dust begins to dominate. At the edge of the Red Emission Nebula, this dust reflects pale blue light. Further away, the dust fades and instead blocks the light of background stars. For imaging, you have many options for framing the Cocoon Nebula. A small field of view provides most of the detail in the nebula, and a larger field of view of about 30 arc minutes shows a greater extent of the surrounding dark nebula. We're going to jump over to October 9th, and we have Wolf's Cave and the Cepheus Flare, and it's designated Vandenberg 152, also known as Zetterblad 201 and Bernard 175. The term Wolf's Cave is named after Max Wolf, who discovered the nebula in 1908. Since 1934, when Hubble studied this region, it has been called the Cepheus Flare. For imaging, Vandenberg 152 can be framed with a small field of view to focus on the bright reflection nebula Zetterblad 201. A larger field of 50 arc minutes shows more of the dark nebula B175 and would be a better choice if your tracking is less than perfect or the seeing is unsteady. This entire region is among the more difficult targets because it is faint, which requires long exposures and dark skies. Now we're going to jump over to October 13th, and we have the Helix Nebula. It is designated NGC 7293. Also known as Caldwell 63, and the constellation Aquarius surrounds a dying star that has blown off its outer layers. The remnant central star is a dense white dwarf that can no longer support nuclear reactions. At a distance of 450 light years, it is the closest planetary nebula to Earth. The very hot white dwarf ionizes an inner shell of oxygen, which appears green, and an outer shell of hydrogen, which appears red. For imaging, the Helix Nebula has the largest apparent diameter of any planetary nebula, allowing a moderate size frame of 30 to 50 arc minutes. If you are imaging from northern latitudes, your challenge is from the low altitude of this object. So, a lot to think about there, guys. It's a very pretty target, one of my favorites. Okay, jumping over to October 15th, we have the Dirichlet Galaxy Group. The galaxy NGC 7331, at a distance of 46 million light years, is the brightest member of a galaxy group called the Dirichlet Group. Smaller members of this group are on the left side, including the smaller spiral galaxies NGC 7335 and NGC 7337, which are possibly 10 times further away than NGC 7331. NGC 7331 was discovered in 1784 by William Herschel and was one of the brightest galaxies overlooked by Messier in his catalog. It appears nearly edge-on. Its structure is remarkably similar to our own Milky Way galaxy. With imaging, if you want to focus just on the largest galaxy in the Dirichlet group, then you can frame NGC 7331 with a field of view as small as 15 by 10 arc minutes. If you want to include several surrounding small galaxies, then you should choose a larger frame of up to 25 arc minutes. A third choice would be a large field of 30 to 45 arc minutes to include both the Dirichlet group of galaxies and Stephan's Quintet, which is centered only 30 arc minutes to the southwest. Okay, jumping over to October 19th, we have the Flying Horse Nebula, also known as the Wizard Nebula, designated NGC 7380 SH2-142. NGC 7380 is a young cluster between 2 and 4 million years old, containing about 125 bright Type O and B stars near the center of this image. The Red Emission Nebula SH2-142 is part of the larger H2 region illuminated by these stars. This complex is about 9,700 light years away. The nebula can be framed by a field of view between 25 and 50 arc minutes, and RGB methods can be successful with longer exposures, but may be dominated by many bright stars in NGC 7380. So that's a pretty challenging target. I really like that one. I'll probably maybe spend some time on that this month. I'm not really sure yet, but jumping over to October 20th, we have the Cave Nebula. The Cave Nebula is a large emission nebula of glowing hydrogen gas at a distance of 2,800 light years, which is part of the larger Cepheus B giant molecular cloud. The young stars which are emerging from this cloud are also energized and illuminating this nebula. The dark cave is caused by an interstellar dust obscuring the light from both the nebula and background stars. For imaging, the Cave Nebula is framed well with a variety of fields of view ranging from 30 to 60 arc minutes. The nebulosity is faint and spread out, and therefore is best revealed by a layered luminance using either a red or H-alpha luminance layer. Now, I actually did shoot the Cave Nebula a little while back, and I'll try to show that on the screen now. And as you can see, I used my William Optics Zenithstar 81 refractor and my ZWO 183 MC Pro, and it is a one-shot color camera. So you can see I would have benefited definitely from more time on this target. Like I said, it requires very long exposures and a lot of them, so this is one target I'm definitely going to jump back to and add more data on. But yeah, I was pretty proud with my image, and yeah, I might end up adding some more data this month to that. So okay, we jump over to October 26th, and we have the Bubble Nebula and M52 cluster. The M52 cluster contains hundreds of young stars that formed together about 20 million years ago. The Bubble Nebula is shaped by powerful solar winds from a Wolf-Rayet star impacting a giant molecular cloud. The two objects are at similar distances from Earth, M52 at 5100 light years and the Bubble Nebula at 7100 light years. If you want to try to image this, you can frame both the Bubble Nebula and the cluster M52 using a large field of view. If your sky is steady and your tracking is accurate, you can use a smaller field of view for high resolution imaging of the Bubble Nebula. This is another one that I shot last month, and I'll show you the picture now. And as you can see, this is at about, with my 2x crop factor, it's about 900 millimeters. So you can see I'm still able to capture a lot of that other star cluster M52 beside it, and you can see the Bubble Nebula here, and I was able to pretty much capture the bubble and, you know, really show how expansive that bubble is. I mean, that's a huge cloud of gas that from our vantage point from Earth shows a giant bubble in space. So it's always been kind of one of my favorite targets, and yeah, it's another here. And I did use the Hubble palette narrowband filters to isolate the blue and the yellow gas here, but you can see you can really capture a wide field and still preserve that bubble and the way it looks. So jumping over to October 27th, we have the Blue Snowball Nebula, and this is one that's really small, so you really need a long focal length to resolve any kind of detail in it. And it's designated NGC 7662, also known as Caldwell 22, and it is a planetary nebula representing a dying star that has shed its outer layers in a series of shells. The hot glowing ember of the collapsed star survives as a white dwarf at the center of the nebula, energizing the shells with fierce ultraviolet radiation. Through a large telescope, the blue snowball appears visually as an oval turquoise gem against a velvet black sky. This teal color arises from the emission lines of doubly ionized oxygen, which is also known as oxygen 3, at a wavelength of 496 and 501 nanometers, and it is at a distance of 3200 light years away. It is slightly closer to Earth than the Little Dumbbell Nebula M76. If you want to try to image the Blue Snowball Nebula, it is the smallest target that I've mentioned. It only has a diameter under 1 arc minute. To extract any detail, high resolution is required. Use a large telescope with a sufficient focal length to image it under 1 arc second per pixel. Wait for the night of exceptional seeing. If your tracking is less than perfect, consider shorter exposures to reduce tracking errors. Luminance exposures may be helpful to reduce exposure times further if your tracking is introducing any blur into the image. It's a magnitude of 8.3 light of the blue snowball. It is concentrated in a small area, which allows single one-shot color or RGB methods to be used. That's actually one I've never tried to shoot myself, and I probably won't for a while. I don't have that much focal length. So okay, I want to jump back here to the 11th, and we're going to look at Jupiter here on the 11th right here at evening time. And if we zoom in here, we can see the Ganymede shadow here from the moon on Jupiter, and there's potential for a really nice photograph about right here at about 9:30 p.m. You have the great red spot with Ganymede shadow here, so really good opportunity there, guys. I just wanted to point that out. And yeah, that happens on the 11th at 9:25 p.m. so you'll probably need a small telescope or something like that to be able to observe this. Something with about 1,000 millimeter focal length, maybe 2,000 would be even better, and you could really make out the details you can make out the great red spot with the shadow. Okay, we're going to jump here to the 25th, and we're also going to look at, you can see here there's a shadow from Ganymede right here on Jupiter, and that happens at 12:30, and it looks like it goes down below the horizon here. Yeah, it goes below the horizon where I live at about 1:30 in the morning. But if you live at lower latitudes, you could probably see Io. A shadow crosses over too. So I felt like these were worth mentioning. And well, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for Sky News, what's up in the night sky for the month of October 2021. I'm sure there's still some other things I didn't mention, but these are all the major things going on. And again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. It really does help kind of push these videos out to more people. Next week's video, I'm going to be doing a side-by-side image comparison of one of my images versus an iconic image captured by the Hubble Space Telescope. So it'll be pretty interesting, guys. Make sure to hit that bell so you don't miss that one, and leave me a comment. Let me know which target you think I'm going to pick. I'll give you a little hint. It's a target I mentioned in this video for this month, so leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And anyways, guys, that's all for now, and as always, I wish you good luck, clear skies, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.